wear a lot of hats. So you're just to look at the tail of the tape here. You're a husband, father to 3 kids. You teach elementary school. You have your own coaching business, which includes working with your local minor hockey association, as well as the local. It would be like the midget AAA team. Then you're also traveling to Val d'Or in the QMJHL to be their skills coach. I don't know what cream you're putting underneath your eyes, but we should all get some because
Yeah, this is my
you don't
my
look
wife.
as tired and as run down as I feel like you should.
Yeah, but it's a lot of stuff. But honestly, I'm lucky like to have my wife for sure.
Yeah.
She's a coach also, so she understands well
She's a
my
coach also. What does she
yeah
coach?
figure skating.
Wow. Is
Yeah,
that her full-time gig?
she's also a teacher at school
No
for
kidding.
with the kids that are have more difficulty. Like she's helping teachers like to take some kids that it's more tough at school and try to bring some idea or different ways of teaching them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so I would I would think that you get the kids to bed. How much of your because I mean I love talking coaching, clearly. I would say my wife, not so much. Um, but man, like, what's that conversation like with you and your wife? Kids are in bed, and you're talking about, whether it's how she's working through something,
Yeah,
on
we're
figure
pretty
skating, and you're
lucky.
talking about
Yeah,
hockey.
yeah, we're pretty lucky because we're both coaches in the same time, and I'm good on dealing with mental stuff, helping players also to deal with their life
Yeah,
also, and my wife has sometimes the right vision. I'm more a little bit about the social things, and she's more like, oh, but sometimes you have to be like that, and like that, and it's perfect because it's like a complementary. Well, yeah, it's like complementary, and but most of the time, sometimes she's not there because when I go, my kids go to bed. She's coaching at night, but when she come back, we talk about what she did, or sometimes I have just question about skating, and it's kind of funny because I'm like, yeah, but you don't, our skate are different. It's not the same thing, our balance, and we're just challenging ourselves sometimes. And sometimes she show me some videos. Hey, have you seen that? She's sending me some clip also from hockey player. Like there's so much thing on social media right now. So
yeah,
have you seen that? I say, yeah, but I don't like that. Why? No, no, no. And we can exchange a lot about that. So it's kind of interesting for sure.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Um, Given that you're in a small town, and that even when you go to Val d'Or is a smaller community, and I can only imagine. I just know early on when I was coaching junior hockey in small towns, it's like you're not going to go to the grocery store and avoid having a conversation about hockey or running into people that you're coaching or different kids in the community. But how much do you think that changes when you talk about sort of the mental health aspect and just providing support to athletes, um, aside from the game? How much of that is influenced, do you think, just the fact that you're a teacher in the school, you've got kids, so obviously you're getting to know their pals, and then you go to Val d'Or, where I'm sure that's a fishbowl, being associated with that team. And so I mean, if you're not involved, I would imagine if you're not mindful of the athlete's mental health, it probably means you're ignoring it because you probably can't avoid being aware of what's going on in their day-to-day life.
Yeah, the thing is, I think what is fun about the development part of in hockey, like not really dealing with performance, but just more on a one-on-one situation with the player, is that you start to learn from there a lot, how their life's going, everything's going. So it's kind of I think it's something I really like the human being, like to just understand why their mindset are there. And I'm more like a question person, so I ask question a lot, and just being it's kind of I tell my player it's about being sympathetic and professional,
Yeah.
and it's about a conference I've seen a few years ago, and it just you're a business in life, and everyone is a business, and it's pretty important to take care of your business, and you have to take care of other people business also. So
Yeah.
just to be sure that everyone is feeling right and at the right spot. And sometimes it's sure hockey's the world of hockey is about people have high expectation, but we have to like understand that behind that player there's a human, and it's a big difference between like understanding that, because sometimes, and I'll tell an example, we'll talk with a player about something he did wrong or something like that, but it's not about the human being, it's about the hockey player.
Yeah.
And most of the time people doesn't like they connect to get everything together, and it's kind of sometimes dangerous. But if they can understand that it's more like if I'm telling you something to correct or just helping you or just asking why you did that and you feel stressed or something like that, but it's not about your person, it's just about the hockey. After that you're someone and I care about you, so I just want to help you. So it's kind of fun, and like you said, like everyone, it's the biggest part because it's a small community, and I'm coming from a small community like that, so
Yeah.
everyone. And it's I don't know how many friends Facebook I have, but it's kind of a it's sure you'll find someone that will know you for sure. And I have teaching for 14 years old since I started, and so I have, and their kids are skating right now, and they're starting hockey. So it's kind of it's cool. It's pretty cool.
So I just we're kind of in the tech space a little bit. So I read and research people that have, been successful in our industry. And you'll hear stories about some of these people, their household names, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, the Bill Gateses, etc., where as kids they would like, for fun they would take apart a toaster and put it back together again. Like that was fun for them. It was challenging. They were curious about how things were made. um, when it comes to, I think for hockey players, there's a lot of hockey players, a lot of really good hockey players that when the coach draws the drill or the system on the board, all they see is, okay, I got to go here and turn right or get to the net, or I just got to go around the pylon this way and time it. And that's it. And that's enough for them. But then other kids or players see that same thing and they start, I think their imagination might take hold and they're like, well, why are we doing this? Or is there maybe a different way we could do it? Is there, what if I move my hands differently? And often those are you know, the players that end up becoming really good coaches. I just know through our conversations, it's clear that while you might not have taken apart toasters as a child and tried to put them back together,
Maybe.
yeah, okay. Well, you clearly have a very analytical mind for the game. I think in terms of how you break it down. Was there? Can you look back and say, it was around this time that maybe you realized that you were seeing the game differently than your peers, and
It's kind of funny because you're talking about toaster, but there's a quote in my family: "Oh, Alex, touch it, maybe it will broke." But
yeah,
it's kind of I just want when the computer were beginning and we like starting to have internet, and it was like beeping, beep 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 and things
yeah,
like that. I was like trying to figure out how the computer was working, so I was going in the all the parameter and things like that, and my parents were like,
no way,
Stop touching the computer," and I was like, "Yeah, but I want to understand why it works like that. I want to
yeah,
understand." So it's kind of yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah, for sure. I'm a big like I don't know how to say that, but I'm a curious person, and I want to understand and just like see things maybe differently. I don't know, and at the same time, I understand that sometimes you see something and it's good, but is there something behind that we can see in another way? It's like turning around, like just turning around, and you'll see differently. The vision will be different. And I have like checked. I have listened to one of your conference a few years ago. Also, it was I think Todd McLean or something like that. A player see the vision of a game north south, and the coaches are seeing like a more on the S West situation. So it's not
yeah,
the same vision. So
yeah,
it's kind of pretty cool to just imagine like the player was going with that way, and he's seeing that the game like that, and the coach, "Ah, you didn't see that." Yeah, for sure, I didn't see that. I was looking that way. I didn't see the
yeah.
player on the side. So it's kind of my vision that everyone can see some different detail, and also there's so many people like analyzing the game. If you can like just take some from everyone and just like and asking why, like just questioning. It's kind of interesting.
When you started coaching, was there a specific skill or area of the game that sort of pulled, like, that you kind of had an entry to, where you said, hey, like, I got really good at teaching this specific thing, and that kind of evolved into, having a skill set of teaching other things? Because I know, like, just again with our conversations, I think you're very adept at a variety of elements of the game, but where did it start?
It started from more passion about the coaching, like being with, like I told you before, human being, because it's kind of, I don't know. I was not a great. I don't think I'm a great tactical guy. Like as a system and like analyzing and everything, and but I'm more like, okay, small detail that you can like improve and see in your game that will help you do the next move, or just maybe be at the right place at the right moment, or just like, if for me, like, it's more tactical skill, but not the tactical system and all these things.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And when I started coaching, I was like, okay, you can do that maybe like that. Have you tried that? Oh, he's like, okay, okay, I'll try that. So it was more about that, and letting the player like a little bit be more free. I'm not a guy like from. It's all right to have a structure for sure, but you can experiment also, and it's really important. And I have listened to so many coaches say the same thing. So it's kind of try. I'll give you some info. What you think about that? How have you seen that? All right, it was useful. No, okay, perfect. Can you do more? Maybe that. All right, try it. So it's more my vision about that.
Yeah. How far is the drive to Valdor?
45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're driving in those 45 minutes, let's just take the last couple of weeks. When you talk about curiosity, what are you focused on these days in terms of maybe a new detail, a new skill, a new way to teach something? What's grabbed your curiosity recently?
I was listening a podcast, Belfry podcast
Yeah.
recently. Yeah, and it was like talking about like the mindset of coach, like that they want rep, perfect rep all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, yeah, how I can help my coach, because I like you told before, I'm dealing with a lot of people. I'm taking care of a lot of people here with coaches also. I'm a mentor, and I was like, okay, how I can change mentality about like maybe sometime let the player like have error and deal with it as a coach, because sometimes coaches are like less I don't know how to say that, but they're more stressed that if a player might make a pass, wrong pass, but they will restart the drill. So trying to figure out how we can help our coaches to let player experiment.
Yeah, it's funny. I think I've like sort of come to appreciate that, head coaches are generally, they're almost like Broadway producers, right? Like in their mind, they've got a script, they know exactly how it's going to go, and if they don't see it play out like that, it can be really frustrating. And I understand why. Whereas the more I talk to coaches in your role, it's more about, they seem a lot more comfortable just letting players explore, express themselves, and I think because they need to see that messiness, because that's where they can lean in and make corrections and help players get better. And you don't get that if everything's perfect.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because yesterday I was in Valdor, and
Yeah.
I was with on the practice, and the head coach Maxim is a great guy. Honestly, he's open minded and think about development and developing player, and we have a team for that for sure, to develop our player. And he said, okay, we'll do that. Can you have a drill please, or for that? I was yeah, Max, no problem, I'll deal with it. Can you show me the drill? Yeah, I'm showing him the drill. All right, but we can add that, it's more in the game situation. I was, yeah, but yeah, they have to focus on like pass reception or something. And if they're just focused on that, they won't be focused on that. Yeah, 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 but I want that. It's kind of and I was like, yeah, but sometimes, Max, it doesn't happen in the game like the way you want. So it will be different. They have to deal with different kind of passes, and it will be different. So it was guys always funny to talk with head coaches, and it's all right because it's there. I've been on this side, and it's your face on the social media when the team doesn't like
Yeah,
perform.
100%. Yeah.
You see the pressure, and it's all right. It's not always funny, also. So you want your way, and it's part of the game.
How given the fact again, because you have three kids, you're working with young kids all the time, 9 to 5 at school. I look at myself, like I'm coaching my son's U7 program. And I've said this, I'm sure I've said it a number of times on the podcast, but and it's the truth though. I'm like, if I had this experience working with kids this age early in my coaching career, like I would have been a way better coach. Like I think if I ever got back into coaching, junior hockey again, I would be so much better equipped. I had so much more patience. I'd be so much more comfortable taking baby steps versus trying to, you know,
Yeah.
get to the final step as quickly as possible. How valuable is just your other life experience been in influencing how you coach and approach athletes?
It's sure like with young kid, what is pretty interesting, and like first of all, it's kind of just how they are tall. They don't see it the same way as you first, like just the vision.
Yeah, I never thought. That's a great point. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's kind of it's kind of funny. And my son Edouard is 7 years old also, and he's this year I took the program and was trying to make it different. Hockey Quebec, we have a great program and everything, but I was more thinking about having fun and just enjoying some like drill where they could play but work on their edges
yeah,
on the side and things like that. So I was like having more like situation, like using a movie like Mario Bros movie, and telling them like I was using bingo painter on the
yeah.
ice, and I'm just drawing some stuff, and they have to touch it. So they go down they just flex their ankle and they go down and they touch the ice. So they're working their edges, they're working their weight shift and all these stuff. In
Hold
the
on. So
same,
I'm taking notes here. I'm getting selfish. So they're going around the ice and they got to reach down and touch
yeah,
the
yeah,
bingo.
exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, yeah. I have some. I draw some like star,
Yeah.
like Mario Bros star. You go faster when you touch the star. So when you touch the star, you start skating faster. It's kind
That's
of
awesome. That's good.
it's small detail, but in the same time, kids like they figure out what is happening, and they're in the game in the same time. So it's kind of they really like it. And every starting of the practice, it was just 20 minutes of skating without stick,
Yeah.
because younger kids start skating and sometimes they are like on their stick and just leaning down on their stick. So we were trying like to just remove their handicap from that and just start skating and being strong on their leg first. And we had like half of our program were non-skater, and right now honestly it's kind of it's amazing. Everyone is at the same level right now. It's kind of
Really.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. This is
The,
my
the,
wife.
the stick thing's interesting. Like I've kind of gone through that, and I know obviously the different philosophies, right? Some coaches are like, "Oh, we need the shot at the end of the drill as the cookie or motivator," and I'm like, "Well, if this if the best way to teach kids how to skate was with a stick, then we'd go to a figure skating practice." And all the figure skaters, when they were starting out figure skating, would have a stick in their hand. Or we'd go to a track coach, and he'd be handing the sprinters a stick to
Yeah.
learn how to run, but they don't. So I think it's good feedback, and but I think doing that obviously it goes back to that fun part, right? You got to get creative and
Yeah,
create
yeah,
different
yeah, yeah.
environments for the kids to learn in. How do you keep it fun for the older kids? Like when you show up in Valdor, for example, or when you're training, junior and pro players in the summertime, how do you keep it fun for them?
For sure, we have like some challenge. It's and like you just tell before, for sure they want the cookie and they want to shot the puck. Is
Yeah,
every player you dump the puck on the ice, what they do?
for sure.
You
Yeah,
take a puck, they go shoot the puck. It's like that. Even if you're like just saying, hey, you could try that stick and link. No, they want to shoot the puck, and it's all right. It's part of the game.
yeah,
But during the summer, like just to be fun. And the same time, I have Nicolas Roy on the ice since 10. It started 10 years ago. I have Jeremy Lauzon also from Nashville, and these guys were like, at the end, we have to have a challenge. Every practice, we have a challenge, a new ways of doing something with at the end scoring or shooting the puck, but it's always a challenge. And I'm with them, and like we're like not betting, but it's kind of betting. Like, all right, who's winning today? Ah, it's me, and we're challenging, and we're just like they're kids. They're playing the game, so they want to have fun also, and it's kind of sometimes it's becoming eat a lot. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of becoming hot a lot.
That's great. No, and you know what? Like I had always associated that with older players or um, more competitive players, but I think it's true at all levels. I found like if you can gamify it a little bit, man, it just all of a sudden kids skate a little bit faster and they seem to get a lot more juice. When I know on Twitter, for example, you're really active and you do a great job, and I would encourage everybody to follow you. But you do a great job of breaking down clips and not just showing the clips, but I think annotating it and really honing in on the specific details that you're talking about. But when you watch, for example, when you're watching Nashville, how do you zero in on maybe a player that you're working with? How do you view the game, or what are you looking for within the game in terms of cues of maybe what they're doing right, but maybe also some areas where you might be able to help them when they come back in the summer.
Yeah, we have for the summer we have a plan. Like I wrote down all what we want to work. Most of the time, it's kind of special because sometimes I am asking the guy like, is yeah the next set meeting for the summer with the small detail that you have to work on from the coaches and things like that. And honestly, most of the guy have it. And I've been fortunate to talk with like development guy like Misha Donskov from Vegas a few years ago for Nick, and
Yeah.
I know Sebastien Bordelot for the Preds. So it's kind of easier for me, like for sure, to like to target some stuff. And also, player are asking, "Hey, Alex, I want to be have a better glide. I'm a little bit too going too deep in the ice and things like that." So it's kind of, but every practice, like how we plan that. We plan more a skating part, more technical after we go for from a tactical. And when like I'm looking for example, Nicola, I'm watching all these clip from something specific, and I'm a big watcher of clip for sure. At night when my wife goes sleeping, I'm on the internet watching clips, and I'm analyzing like if Jay needs to work on his shooting, how he can open it a little bit more to have more range or things like that, or a small detail that can improve it. Sure, for as a pro player, they're pretty good, but it's sometimes it's small detail that help their game. And honestly, I've seen great results since for Nick and Jay, and it's not me, it's them that are telling me that. So it's kind of always great. But it's the same thing for a younger kid also. Like we have a development plan for all our player, like in our AAA. We're
Yeah.
trying like to target some stuff, precise stuff for them.
So that means that every player on that team has an individualized development plan. So when they show up in the rink, they're like, the coach might drop the forecheck, but I know that at this phase of the year, I'm focused on these
Yeah,
specific details or
yeah.
skills.
We have with Hockey Quebec also. We have like a summary that we have to send to Hockey Quebec for a player. Like
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and is
We
that just for the midget
triple A.
AAA league or
No, all the AAA under 50, it's the LHEQ in
yeah,
Quebec. So we have under 30, 13, under 15, under 17, and under 18. And we have to send like a resume of the player. Like we have like to checklist some stuff and how he's going on a skating part, like tactical for that and everything. And we have to send it to Hockey Quebec. They take all the results from that. So my coaches have to analyze it. We have to fill it out and send in. And after I can take it and like, okay, maybe you should work more on that. And we're able like to do some like a workshop on the ice example on a Monday. Some player will work on their edges, some will work on their explosion, and we'll have coaches on the ice, and we'll work like that, on Monday, for example.
Wow, that's fascinating. So when Hockey Quebec, and I mean, I mean, it's obvious why that's so important, and and I would liken it to school. Like everybody should be doing that. Like it just makes sense, right, to keep track. And but in Hockey Quebec's case, like is are they just using that for to have internal data? Like would QMJHL teams get access to that so they could look back and see what kids are working on? Like where does that who gets access to that and how does it get leveraged for the players' benefit?
Right now, the objective about that is really for Hockey Quebec and their elite program, like
Yeah,
the under 18, under 16, under 15 during summer, and we start under 14 this year also. We'll do a challenge against Ontario, like a super challenge,
yeah.
but it's for their program for sure. And after for like if there's the central for from the Q that are asking for some detail, they can for sure share. Yeah.
Got it. Um, when you applied for the GSS, and we'll get into your presentation in a bit here, but I was really impressed about, sometimes I think that when it comes to warm ups, a lot of coaches might have, it might be that they might play the same small area game all the time, or they might have one or two skating drills, but, their sort of lens that they see the warm up through is just like, hey, we're just trying to get a bit of a sweat going and then we'll get into the teaching. But I was really impressed with how your warm up really informed what you were going to work on um, in that class or practice. If I were to come to say all your summertime ice times, or if I were to come to a lot of your development sessions, what would be some of the consistent things I would see, whether it's the drills, the details, like what are things that regardless of what you're working on, that are staples to how you teach or you prepare players to get the most out of the session?
Yeah. For our elite program during the summer, like how I build my all my stuff is always about like having a drill of skating, shooting for sure, by a technical aspect of the shooting part. After that, I'll have a passing. I'll have also a puck handling drill, but everything is connected together. If when we start the skating, maybe we'll work on the push for shooting today. You'll receive a puck, you'll push into space, you'll shoot the puck, but you have to work on your edges, like receiving on a crossover, depending, or something like that. Open your hips, glide on in your inside hips. So the skating will be connected with that at the beginning. So every aspect is connected, and the biggest thing about that, it's really about the learning process because like it's called a multidisciplinary learning
Multidisciplinary, yeah, you
approach.
nailed it.
Yeah, sorry,
Yeah, that's
sorry.
okay, man.
So yeah, and it's really about connecting everything together. So the player like have more his memory, muscle memory, and everything is connected. So he will remember and use it for sure at the right moment at the right time. So
Got
it's
it. So
really
if I repeat that back, so you might have a specific focus, but you still want to tie in those other elements so it
yeah.
all blends together in a game like setting.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
And we start at the beginning of summer more on technical aspect. After that, we go more on this tactical aspect. So, and we will connect stuff that we have work on the technical aspect, on the tactical. And after we'll go like, because everyone has like main camp arriving in August. So we'll have more battle and game app situation, but you have to use what we have worked on before. So everything is also connected over there.
Got it. Got it. That's a really unique approach. That's a really unique approach. Where did I'm sure that if I came to your practice today, it probably looks maybe not totally unfamiliar, but different than when you started 14 years ago. What have been some of the really key insights that have maybe shaped how you approach player development today, and where did they come from?
Great question. I think it's coming from my teaching at school a lot, a lot. Because when you have a kid starting at like elementary school, grade one, and you have to bring it at grade six for a year and go back, uh, you have a plan from grade 1 to grade 6 for sure. And it's like similar in the season, and it's always similar. Like when I was starting coaching, I was like not seeing hockey that way,
Yeah.
but right now, like, and hockey is a sprint, huh? It's a season. You have the player 1 season, sometime you'll have two, but after they go with another coach
Yeah.
in a season or organization, depending most of the time. And it's kind of different from figure skating. From my wife, like how
That's
she
yeah,
teaches,
that's a really
huh?
great comparison. Yeah.
She's taking kids like really young, and sometimes they laugh like they're 18 years old.
Yeah.
So it's a lifelong for these kids. So we try. I have like progress in my thinking with all my experience about the teaching part, and right now I can figure out easily a season, like how I teach my season, because I'm starting with more technical and tactical, and we're going for sure with the team and all that stuff. But we're pretty like it's like my summer practice. You try to connect everything for the end. And the biggest challenge is in during weekend, because in hockey we have evaluation every weekend or every 2 weekend depending. Like we do something, we get evaluated, and
Yeah.
after, oh, doesn't work like that, oh, doesn't work well, our passes were not working well, we have to work on our passes next week. Yeah, but we have other stuff to work on. But sometimes coach like just move everything they have planned because we have another evaluation next weekend, so we
Yeah.
have to be better for just these aspect. But yeah, but you forgot all the,
But I
it's
guess
kind
in
of,
figure skating, it's probably, I mean, I'm sure your wife, her plan's not a year. It's probably like 6 years. And I got lots of time. Like, I always think about that, especially, with youth hockey coaches, and I'm sure it applies to all levels, is there's this immense amount of pressure where you got to fit it all in. And I think what I've come to appreciate, I think great coaches know what to say no to. Like great coaches know what to not to ignore, what not to focus on, because it's for the next coach or it's later on in the player's career. And in the short, in the long run, they'll get more out of just really honing in on some, might be passing or skating at a young age at those skills.
yeah, yeah, it's sure like for kids like that you started younger, you know them a lot, so it's easier to talk with them and like focus on some stuff. But it's kind of special also, because when you start with younger kid, like, and you have it for your long year, the relationship is more like about their life also. So you have to deal, it's kind of a line, between their life and the coaching part, because you have started a long few years ago. But it's kind of and it's similar for my summer camp, because I have kids that coming from somewhere else every
Yeah.
summer that are coming in my camp, so just see the progression from their season, but I have not seen them during the season. So it's kind of also a picture to take, and how they evolve in the season also.
I've always wondered, this is a theory I have, that if you were to poll all the players in the National Hockey League, I bet you would find that, well, a lot of those players may have had, different coaches every year on their respective teams. Because I look at the environment that you're in, like it's optimal for player development, because kids, they get you on a consistent basis, but the benefit of getting you on a consistent basis isn't because maybe the way that you teach passing is better than everybody else. Although it is, because your guys are going to find out in a couple weeks here at the GSS.
We hope
But
so.
it's the benefit of you having that long term view of being able to build those relationships, getting to know the player as a person, really getting to understand their skill set, and having that consistent, person with looking at a player through a development lens. And I bet you, if you looked at a lot of NHL players, whether they grew up in a small town environment where they get someone like yourself, or they just happen to have a skills coach that they met at a young age that they got connected with and they stuck with them for a while, I would bet you most players had one or two consistent people for a long duration in their younger years that helped shape their development and allowed them to be had a long-term outlet or outlook when they were working with them.
It's sure that. even they have no pressure. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
they start with us, and after they keep going, and when they're coming, it's like going home every time. So, and they know also how we work, so we don't lose time like about details. We just like, okay, today we'll that. Okay, Alex, yeah, I know why. And most of the time, Alex, can you show me a clip? Yeah, for sure, I'll send you a clip. And they know how we work, so it's pretty like easier for them, like just to be relaxed in their mind and just coming and have no stress. Because if I remember when I was kid, going to like a summer camp, but didn't know anyone, like you're not ready to learn. You're just stressed or going on the ice, knowing anyone, like having new coaches, new people. It's great. I had great like summer camp. Not at all, not a lot because my parents were not on that, more on a different sport. But it's kind of like totally different that being with the same person all the time. Sometimes you may be blast of that person, but
Yeah.
who knows? They're not telling us.
No, you know what? I've never looked at it that way, but I think that is such a great point of, just kids, all part of, I guess, creating that optimal learning environment, right? And I'm sure you see that. I'm sure the environment you have in September when you go to school and how the kids act and behave around you is very different than it is at this time of year.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um, Go ahead.
No, it's just I'm just thinking about like, and what is fun about that is like you were talking about school, but like I'm really like the most important thing for me, like when you receive someone, just smiling, and when you smile, you make a contact, and after every kid's like the pressure go down, and they're more relaxed, and they're more like they are as a people, so it's more easier to connect with them.
Yeah, that's the ABCs, man. It's the ABCs of coaching. So you get access to a figure skating coach on a regular basis. If I gave you the opportunity for one season, you could go be a fly on the wall with a coaching staff from a different sport to see how they train their players, how their skill coaches work, all that stuff. What sport would you want to go be around to pick their brain?
Good question. Basketball,
Really?
and I'm not listening basketball at all. It's kind of funny, but because I have a friend who's a coach at school. From he was a coach. Right now he's an advisor at school, but and he was coaching basketball, and we were like we were working together in an office, and we were talking about our sport and how we deal with our player, and how the basketball game is done, and all about the development part. And it's kind of similar of hockey also, like the court you have to like and it was kind of interesting, so why not basketball? Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read Phil Jackson's book, like about the triangle offense?
No, I don't
No.
remember.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's talks about like how like the system that they use with the Bulls, but I've always felt that it had basketball because there's similar to hockey, it's their structure, but it's free flowing as well.
Yeah.
And I've always sort of thought about that where, what's the equivalent to that in hockey where it's not a they're playing on principles more than anything that can be applied to any situation. And I'm starting to just through conversations with coaches, like I know Mike Johnson, for example, with the Portland Winterhawks, did a talk for us a couple of years ago where he talked about how he had shifted from systems to principles
Yeah.
and had some just general rules. And after the players had that in place, they could just turn their brain off and just play and saw the benefits. So that's
Yeah.
interesting. You and
Yeah.
I would be, you and I, like, I can just tell you, you and I would be like, we'd be picked last for the basketball team. I'm pretty sure.
I'm not that bad
You're
though.
not that bad. Okay.
No, I'm a PI teacher. I'm supposed to be
Fair
good at
enough.
every sport.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So Alex, in a couple weeks here, you're going to be presenting at our Global Skills Showcase. And I, I'm really fortunate because I get to, I geek out on this stuff, but it amazes me. This is the fourth year we've done the event, and I've seen it just evolve in 4 years. Just the amount of detail and the thought process behind, teaching these skills, or just the little bits of nuance that goes into it. Can you touch on I want to. I don't want to try and explain what you're going to teach because I think it's very unique. Can you maybe just share with our audience what you're going to be working on?
Yeah, I've been analyzing a lot of passing and puck reception also. A few years ago with the COVID, it helped us like slow down and look at a lot of stuff. And I was like more about the simple detail that can help player like being more effective, not just about the reception or anything like that, but for their next move or like
Yeah.
being ready for the next action. So I'll be presenting on that, and it's kind of fun because it's connect with every technical aspect of hockey. Also, it's just not about like it's a tactical skill, but also useful, and you can work with technical stuff. And we will have conference about skating with the GSS, so it's kind of everything can be connect together also. So it's kind of it will be fun.
No, it's and I've had a bit of a sneak peek, so I can confirm that. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to help coaches see receiving passing through a very different lens. Where I think oftentimes when it's taught, it's so much of the emphasis is on the player making the pass, and it's a bit of an afterthought. As you said, not just how players receive pucks, but how it sets them up for their next thing. And how much of this is influenced from working with professional players? Because that one thing that's really come up with some of the NHL skills coaches we work is the emphasis that they're playing now. There's the game is so fast. There's so little time to make plays. Where particularly in the offensive zone, and heck, even in like defenseman on the breakout, where the time from whether it's receiving a puck or retrieving a puck, being in a position to make that next play and really analyzing the mechanics behind that has become, I think, in the last couple of years, such a big emphasis.
Yeah, it's kind of everyone's telling that the game is going faster, and but they want keep keep improving of being faster also. So we have to like think a little bit outside of the box, I think, and it's kind of special because like the detail I will present are pretty simple, and every coaches like can take it and bring it with their younger player also. And after that you have learned these, like you can connect with all other skill also. So it's kind of it's a mix of a lot of detail, but for the development part, like it's kind of what I really liked during COVID. It's we were having meeting with some guy. Like we were like I contact some guy that I have been coached by or that I knew, and we were like exchanging about some stuff. So I was bringing in a player. Example, Sam Gerard. I knew Sam by someone, so I asked Sam to come on a team call.
Yeah.
I was getting clip from somewhere outside, showing some clip and asking why he was doing that. And all the other coaches were all around and watching the clip and everything. And Sam was explaining, and coaches were challenging him. So it was like a really big share, and we were like really experiencing something really great because we had great mind on the call. Honestly, it was really nice. And we had Huberto, we had Chiasson, I had a lot of French guy. So it was kind of really nice, like to understand more about why they're doing it. And I think it's like a great exchange by coaches and player, like to understand and improve the game at the same time.
Yeah. You know what? What's great about that story is that I've heard that story a lot where coaches, especially during COVID, got together. I hadn't heard it where they invite the players in and get the
Yeah,
players' perspective on things, and just that
yeah.
makes again obvious, but that's
Because
really good.
coach are in the bubble sometime. Huh? They see the game as a coach, but player sees it as a player, so it's totally different.
I got two more questions for you. What's next? Like, what's the next trend in player development or the skill that, so for example, I feel like 5 years ago, all of a sudden it's like, punch turns, jam turns, like everybody's all over outside edge. It was like everybody, this was the thing. Um, what's next?
It's the new player that will tell us. It's kind of funny, but also like when you see Bedard shooting the puck, he's not shooting the puck like other player before. The other day we were trying. Some of our player was like, "Hey, have you seen the YouTube video from Bedard shooting the puck?" I was like, "No." "Oh, he's shooting the puck like that," and our players trying some stuff that they see on the internet or everywhere. So it's
Yeah.
the new trends that are coming are from like the players who's starting to play NHL right now, or the player right now that we have in our hand. For sure, the game is improving a lot, like you said, and we'll have some trends like some small detail that people were not thinking about it that will come and was like, okay, it was there a few years ago, but we didn't see it. And just about the skating, about like D-man skating has improved a lot with Makar and Girard and all these guys. But there are some new player again experiencing some new skating that is coming, like just about edges and like move and fake and deception that will be different for sure.
Got it. Last question. So you talk about, kids go to bed, you go upstairs somewhere in your house, you pull out the computer, you're watching a clip.
Yeah.
Take me through the moment when you see something and you're like, what was that? And you rewind it and you rewatch it. And I think probably a lot of coaches listening understand what I'm saying. That moment when you see something, you're like, that's not a mistake. Like that's a detail that's not currently in my toolbox, but it's valuable. And I've got to learn how to teach it. I've got to dissect that. Take us through that moment where you see something like that and then you start breaking it down to a point where you can go on the ice and teach it to a player.
I have an example for you. I was like looking at all the passes from Draisaitl a few years ago,
Okay.
all his season passes. I was talking with Chiasson, and he was telling me something about like how Draisaitl was making his passes, and I was like, okay, okay. And he was talking about the rotation of the puck, and I was like, okay. And we were like, I was just trying to figure something like, and just to see if there's something different. And by the way, I was looking at something, I see something else totally. I was like, oh, he's doing it. Oh, again and again and again. So, for example, Drysaddle when he's skating forwards most of the time. But when he's on his backhand, he will pivot just before, like to engage his movement before receiving the puck, and he will be skating backwards, and he will have the puck on his forehand, like to be ready to pass or shoot the puck.
Really?
Yeah, and because I'm telling you, you will watch it for sure next few clip.
Yeah.
But you can see when it's on a rush. Sometime there's two situations. Sometimes he's just showing his blade. Will tap the puck. Will bring the puck in front of him, and will keep going. Most of the coach wants players to have the puck on their blade all the time, but sometimes you adjust to like spot the puck somewhere and keep going. And I was like, okay, okay, he's doing that. And after that, when I keep watching that, I was like, okay, he's pivoting before he's receiving the puck because I want to be ready to make a next play in power play or something like that, like to be, or maybe shooting. And a few weeks ago, we were talking with Hockey Canada skill coach. We have a meeting every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I sent a clip like I was telling about the open hip shooting, and the guy were like, open hip shooting, and I was like, yeah, you'll see, you will open hip, turn, and you will shoot the puck. And I have tried it with my players. I was like, hey, it's going well. So maybe it will be a trend in a few years, but it's kind of these small detail or new detail that we don't see a lot, like that I will like focus on and I'll see. But sometimes you have to be like pretty simple also, because I have head coach that remind me, you Alex, the game is not just that. And I was like, yeah, I know, but sometimes if it can improve a little detail, your team will be faster. So it was like, yeah, okay.
That's man, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. And I think, I think when I go watch young players play today, or we see, young players in the NHL, um, and I think we can all agree. I mean, the game where it's at today is so far advanced from when we grew up playing. I mean, kids can just do so much, and I hear people throw out all these reasons, and I always think it's really important to point out the reason, in my opinion, that the game is where it is. It's a combination of coaches like you who are willing to share and technology and making this information available,
Yeah.
everybody. And so when you have that insight to, a player like Draisaitl, you can, all of a sudden you're on a call with a bunch of coaches across Canada and you're giving them that tool. And so again, there's the technology part of that, but there's also the part of that that's, someone like yourself saying, hey, I'm not gonna I could keep this for myself, but I'm gonna get it in the hands of everybody.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
it's totally the vision. If you share, like it can improve the game. It's not about us. It's not about coaching and just us. It's about how we can like help the game to develop. If you love the game, you'll be like really happy to share it. And like, I know that every coaches have their like own little stuff, but I'm more like an open guy. Like if you have a question, I'll send you a clip and I'll just help you like for your player. I'm helping a kid. I'm helping a human being to be better.
Love it, man. Love it. Really quick, we mentioned earlier. I would encourage everybody to follow you. I follow you on Twitter. Can you just quickly share? Speaking of sharing, your Twitter handle and or X handle, sorry, and I met you on Instagram as well. Just where can people? Where's the best place to follow along?
Honestly, on my Instagram, most of the time,
Okay,
connects. I have Facebook also, and we try to send it. I try to send everything on it also, but my Instagram is the best way to see some stuff. But Twitter also is good. It's just sometimes I forgot like to go and share on my Twitter after.
you
So
got a lot going on, man. No problems.
yeah, Hockey Developpment on my Instagram, and on my Twitter it's Alex Chénier, or I don't remember my
We'll
short.
we'll uh, we'll include we'll tag in everything that we push out on our channels. But listen, man, we're super excited about your upcoming presentation at the Global Skills Showcase, and just a huge fan of the work that you do over these past few years, and glad we finally got an opportunity to collaborate with you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It was really nice. And it's been since day one that I'm following Coach's site. So it's been a while.